And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and this is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We're recording now live till 5, and then we'll post it up on YouTube, so you can come by later and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. We're now featuring 900 or so QSO-VLOG air checks. Also this afternoon, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers monitoring Rochester, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Arlington, Virginia, and Milford, Pennsylvania, trying to get a better copy on our 100-watt friends. Now, the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on this selector is our local receiver audio. And today, our local receiver is running 2 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed north and south, the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated. They are selected by a 3-position rotary selector. Position 3 of this selector is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves. We do use a lot of rotary selectors in our shack, mainly because there's nothing faster than a rotary switch for comparing multiple signals. And today we'll be running 2 separate transmit and receive radios. Our normal modified Yaesu FT990 will be the transmit radio, and the Nikon 7300 will be our test receiver audio. The idea being that the 7300 has a lot newer digital receive technology, so that's what we'll be evaluating. One of yesterday's great radios, the Yaesu FT990, in an A/B test with the newer ICOM Digital 7300. Of course, this is just a sidewalk survey because they'll not be sharing the same antenna. The 990 will be on a resonant no SWR dipole antenna, and the 7300 will be using our large twin 10-foot magnetic loop antennas. Also today, we're running a new visual input source indicator. So when we switch receivers from the 7300 to the 990, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch automatically. And since it is an input source indicator, you'll also be able to see which of the Internet SDR receivers I might be using at any particular moment. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube QSO-VLOG video, our new input source indicator. Well, those are our working conditions. How about yours? This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. And now, let's check in and see if Charlie K1GZL is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up in the North New Hampshire area, near the Canadian border, about 4 miles from there. Charlie, got a copy?
Yes, Jim, beautiful. You're peaking 20 over 9 direct, and hope you're copying me, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. I have 10 over on you right at the moment. So how's the weather been up that way?
Cloudy. We just got over a 7-inch snowstorm the day before yesterday. Now it is overcast. Yesterday we had a low of 0 and a high of only 10, plus 10 Fahrenheit, of course. And today it was 10 degrees at midnight last night, and now it's 29 degrees. Overcast, low-hanging clouds, stratocumulus, and we're expecting a little bit of possible light rain toward morning, then more serious after a real warm day tomorrow, going up to the upper 40s. The normal high is 17, 18 degrees. We go into winter storm watch, which means probably a good solid ice storm here, and that has me a little bit nervous. You asked about propagation. This morning I was working Ian, VK3 Mike Oscar. He's about 55 miles northwest of Melbourne, Australia, and I've got just a couple seconds of Ian this morning recorded on this 10th of January 2019, and here at the end.
Thanks all being on, and I shall be here tomorrow. So 73 all round. Wish you all a very good day. K1GZL and company 73 from Lake Kilo 3 Mike Oscar.
That is the conditions this morning, Jim. Go ahead.
Oh, just excellent, just excellent. And your radio setup is just perfect to rebroadcast that. You've got that absolutely down pat. I wanted to ask you now, essentially, you have a three-element beam coming off that hill, and what is the direction of those elements running north, south, east, west? What's the angle of the dangle on that beam antenna?
Well, the general idea of it's a three-element diamond-shaped quad. Diamond-shaped quad, of course, the reflector in the back and the director out in front of the driven element. And they're firing at about 245, 250 degrees. And Ian is down at 275, 275, 276. So I'm 30 degrees south of Ian. I'm not aimed at Australia. I never have been on 40. I have been on 20, pretty close, but not on 40. So I'm stuck with that direction. The only thing that's helping me is the lower angle I must be getting by firing off of this small mountain here, as we are up at 2,030 feet above sea level. Jim, go ahead.
Roger that. Roger that. Now, okay, so that's your target angle. What is the actual angle of the elements themselves? Are they running like south, east, northwest, like?
Roger, exactly. North, the west. And then the line goes, the line goes southeast. If you look right down each element in the direction it's firing, say from the northeast west side, the are going southeast and up to northwest. Where I'm viewing it in this particular case from the northwest side. So I'm broadside, the opposite direction, of course, directly out to the west, southwest, Jim, almost directly southwest. Go ahead.
Roger, Charlie. Well, I was just looking around on the SDRs. You're 15 over on Rochester and Milford, and 8 over on Atlanta and Arlington. So, and then obviously on my local antenna, you're about 12 over on my my dipole antenna, and right on the mag loop, I guess you're probably about just not quite as good, about a 7 on the mag loop antenna. Roger.
Good, about a 7 on the mag loop antenna. Roger.
Okay, well, you're certainly doing a beautiful job. I assume you're on your dipole at the present time. Here's a couple seconds of your signal.
Hello. And right on the mag loop, I guess you're probably about just not quite as good, about a 7 on the mag loop antenna. Roger.
Okay, Jim, real fine. Look, I won't hold it too long. You may have a lot of stations trying to work you there, and as usual, your audio is absolutely perfect. I don't think you would sound any different if you were sitting next to me and not on the radio and talking directly to me, as you are. So the first time I ever heard a single sideband station, I remember way back when, and it sounded so horrible that I thought the FCC was going to get a hold of this person and throw him off the air, but not knowing that was a new technology. Jim, go ahead.
Oh, Roger. Well, yes, you come face to face with a single sideband on an AM receiver, and one wants to duck and run for sure, Roger.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now we have good quality on sideband. Here it is.
Not quite as good, about a 7 on the mag loop antenna. Roger. One wants to duck and run for sure, Roger.
Okay, Roger on that. Well, Jim, thank you. Roger on that. Well, Jim, thank you so much. I'll try. If I don't get smashed here by this ice storm, I'll try to get on next week. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure working you there. Yeah, KC9VKV. Mike, if you're listening, I'll be down on 50 shortly. I'll have to reload. K1GZL. Always a pleasure, Jim.
Roger, Roger, Charlie 3's that way. Stay warm. I say that because, you know, I have, well, you can live up there. It's too cold for me, man. I like a little more moderate extremes of temperatures, so Louisville area just does me fine. So 3's, and have a real good afternoon and a great weekend, Charlie. This is KC9VKV, and this is the Friday Afternoon QSO-VLOG Network. My name is Jim, KC9VKV, and I'm better known in some circles as Dr. VKV. And we are recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll post this recording up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So when you go to YouTube, just do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And on that page, you'll be looking for one QSO-VLOG entitled My Group Aircheck 11020. My Group Aircheck 11020. This is KC9VKV listening.
This is KC9VKV listening.
November Echo, India.
There's a November Echo station out there. Come back slowly with a call sign.
Yeah, November 6, Echo, Charlie, India.
Roger, and what's the name there, please?
Yeah, name is Mike. Jim, we've spoken a couple of times, maybe 2, 3, 4 months ago. You helped out a little bit here with the settings, and I just wanted to check in, say hello, say thank you, and make sure it's sounding good.
Roger, Roger. Well, what have you been up to? Have you been making some great contacts with that setup?
Here and there. Checking into a bunch of nets and the occasional European. We're running, this is the one with the HW101. So 100 watts from 1976 and a ground-mounted vertical outside and a little bit of audio processing and a decent mic ahead of the radio.
Roger that. And what's your location?
South Carolina here. We're just outside of Charlotte.
Roger, Roger, Mike. We do have somewhat of a hot spot in the Carolinas. We're aiming for 20 overs from Montreal to Miami, and so that means that our direction center of that lobe would be right through the Carolinas, Roger.
Roger. Yeah, well, I've got you at a real nice 20 over 9 at this point, and I heard your conversation there with K1GZL. That sure sounded familiar, and I remember listening to him along with my dad back in the 60s and 70s when he was doing all the phone patches from the Antarctic.
Yes, Roger, Roger. Charlie's just been an amateur radio operator for, gosh, I guess in excess of 50 years or so, I believe, Roger.
Yeah, must have been. That was back when I was a teenager, or less. But that was always fascinating to listen to the phone calls coming out of the South Pole area there. Well, Jim, won't keep you. I know you're going to have a slew of folks asking for help here this afternoon, but wanted to say hi and just make sure everything was still cooking along as it was last time. We'll say 73 from South Carolina, N6 ECI.
Roger, Mike. What radio is it you're running?
The HW101 heat kit, built it myself.
Oh, excellent. Well, obviously, it sounds great. Did a beautiful job, Roger.
Thanks. Yeah, I lived in St. Joe, Michigan, right down the road from Benton Harbor, where the heat factory was. So one day I ran over and got myself a box of parts and got to work on the kitchen table.
Now, that's where they had the distribution for their kits, Roger?
That was a factory, yeah, on Hilltop Road in St. Joseph. And that was the main factory, and they obviously had a little retail store on the side of the factory. You could go right in there and take a look at the showroom of stuff, and they'd run back and get the kit for you.
Roger. And what year was that? I'm just curious.
That would have been probably 76.
Roger. And did you have all the parts in that kit that you needed?
Absolutely. Everything was there, and I wouldn't say I, knocked it out in a day, but it was probably a couple of weeks worth of work. Just after my regular work, I'd come home and get to work on the radio here, and it's worked ever since.
Roger. And that is a transceiver, Roger?
Yeah, this is it was something like, I don't know, $299 or something at the time. The HW101 is kind of the economy version of the SB101 and 102, the ones that looked a little bit more like Collins rigs. This one had a little bit cheaper case, and the crystal filter wasn't quite as good as on the SB rigs, but I was able to find the good crystal filter from the SB series and put that in here. So not only on receive is it a little bit more selective now, I would assume on transmit it's probably just a little bit narrower as well.
Oh, that's super. I've always liked Heathkit stuff. I think they've always done a great job, particularly in their power amps. We're running SB 220 right on as we speak, Roger.
Oh yeah. Well, would love to have one, but right now 100 watts is what we're doing, and probably enough for the moment, because every time I get on this thing, all of the touch control lamps downstairs start going on and off. So I'd imagine what would happen with more than 100 watts.
Roger, you'd be turning on your neighbor's touch lamps, Roger.
Yes, and the garage door will be going up and down, and who knows what else. All right, well, that's the story from this end. We'll let you run, and we'll catch you again one of these days. It's N6 ECI, South Carolina. Clear?
Roger. Now, I just wonder what poor lost soul is having it necessary to tune up on this frequency. Please seek an alternate frequency to tune up. This frequency is in use. This is the KC9VKV QSO-VLOG network. And today and for the next few weeks, we'll be conducting a sidewalk survey, an AB receiver test between our normal modified Yaesu FT990 and a newer digitally influenced ICOM 7300. There will be a few anomalies during the test. Our 990 receiver will be running a resonant dipole with zero reflected wave, and the 7300 will be running two co-phase 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas. All transmissions will be from our regular FT990. This is KC9VKV listening.
Alpha Charlie 9, November Echo.
Alpha Charlie 9 station. Come back with the call sign again, please, slowly, phonetically.
Okay, Jim. Alpha Charlie 9, November Echo. The name's Jerry.
Roger, Jerry. What radio are you running today?
I'm running a 7300. I talked to you one time before and got a recording. And my question to you, Jim, on the recordings that I listen to on YouTube, is that coming through the 990, 991, whatever it is? Is it possible for that recording to come through the 7300?
Yes, it is. Tell me about your antenna. I just went to the 7300.
Okay, I'm just working a inverted V cut for this band up about 40 feet at the apex, and let's see, using the 7300 with the Hi-O microphone, the IC headset, 100 watts, and what is it? Yeah, the compression set at 3. The microphone is set at 26. Over.
It just sounds beautiful. Now, the thing is, are you running mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC?
Okay, actually, closer to being out of the Not out of the ALC. I guess you would call it about 9/10.
Well, you don't want to be that hot. You're headed for for the readies. We don't want to do that. Just mid-scale to 2/3. Or just, I tell you what, just back off an inch on your mic. I'll call it even for you.
Is this Jim's Ferguson?
Well, yes, it is. Here's my Elmer.
How do you copy?
You're pretty noisy. I got you probably about 7 over noise level.
Yeah, I'm on a compromised antenna. I'm on a 40-meter mobile vertical.
Roger. Well, I wish you would get a real antenna instead of those compromised things. I told you I'd come over and work with you.
Okay, on a nice day, the next nice day, you can come over, and I believe that's Jerry over in Jeffersonville. Hello, Jerry. Is that who you're talking to?
Yeah, that's right.
Hello, Jerry in Jeffersonville. Anyway, the next nice day, it will not get put up unless you come over and help me put it up.
Well, I'm just call me on the bat phone.
Well, like I said, that's fine. But you go ahead and you have your fun listening. But like I said, all I did was just take a vertical. It's just a vertical, mount it out there on it's probably doing quite well at 1,000 miles away, but locally it's not that great. But anyway, you know, I'm set up for 80 and 160. I'm not set up for these lower bands. I will get a double bazooka. We'll put it up there out of sight, out of mind, so the quackmires won't complain about it.
Roger, I am copying you better on Milford than locally, Roger.
I am copying you better on Milford than locally, Roger.
Yes, that's about right. Yep, I told you I'm 1,000 miles away better because I'm on vertical, so you're copying better at K3FEF.com than you are 3 miles from me, or well, no, wait a minute, I'm at 403 in Salem Noble, and Jerry is down in Jeffersonville, so that makes sense that you would hear me better in Milford, Pennsylvania.
Roger. Now you got to get that EQ back where we had it plus 2 on the bottom and plus 3 or 4 on the top end.
2 on the bottom and plus 3 or 4 on the top end.
Well, it changes everything. You're not getting me back if I was, again, we'll deal with that later. You go on and run your show, and hello, Jerry, and God bless America, and we'll talk a little bit. You go ahead and pick it up with your show and enjoy it. This is November 9 Golf Tango Oscar listening, as always.
Roger, 3 set away. That's my Elmer, everybody. Keeps me in confused, in confusion a lot of times. He still has one antenna. I've got to find out the whole story on that antenna. We were both, I think, barefoot. I was giving a guy a 9, and he was giving a guy a 30 over. So I don't know. We'll just have to work that out. 3's there. Elmer and 9GTO, we'll catch you later. This is KC9VKV, and this is the QSO-VLOG Network, live till 5. We are recording. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. KC9VKV listening.
Have a radio you want to check out? Give me a shout. KC9VKV listening.
Well, that's because I was at my son's home in Clarksville, and there's a full wave 80-meter loop. Was giving the guy 30-40 over in up in northeast Ohio, where you 40 over in up in where you were on a quarter a folded halfway a quarter wave dipole. That was the deal. That you'll see it when we go over there, because I'm gonna move the. I've got everything set up. I'm going to the watch now. I'm not doing it right now, but I've got everything set up for 160 right now on the flex for my guys that we get together at night on the farm through the iPhone and the watch. So, but as soon as I learn how to use it to do that, but we do need to put a 40 antenna and a 40 Noble. Just a combination of the both places, the farm and Clarksville, and all 3. We need a 40-meter double bazooka. And
Yeah, all three. We need a 40-meter double Razooka, and we'll be just fine. 73s, and on GTO. And go ahead and say it again, Jim, because Jerry was talking, and I think I had a better signal on Jerry than I did you, so go ahead.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, Jerry, you still out there?
Roger, Roger. Yeah, Jerry, you still out there?
VE3 Charlie Delta.
Kilo America 5, Delta Juliet Sierra.
Delta Juliet station, come back with a call sign again, please.
Kilo America 5, Delta Juliet Sierra.
Delta Juliet Sierra, Roger, Roger. And what's the name?
Name here is David, and we are in Commerce, Georgia.
All right, Georgia. What radio are you running?
7300.
Roger, Roger. And tell me about your antenna.
I've got a 4-element up. It used to be a W8KJ, and I converted it to a folded loop. It's a 4-element up. I want to say 25 feet. That's about it, and I think I've got it pointed at you.
Well, it certainly sounds like that. You're about 15 over on my local receiver. I'm running right now the Yaesu 990 on a dipole, and you're about 15 over, Roger.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good. Sounds real good. I think I've got everything adjusted properly. Looks like it on the meters there anyway. And I just followed the instructions in the booklet, and it seems to be okay.
Roger, Roger. Well, it sounds just beautiful. Your equalization curve is nice. Your repetitive marker at 100% is just ideal. I mean, you have no blow by. Your peaks are all absolutely at the same place. That shows me your limiter circuit is. You're probably running mid-scale to 2/3. I think the book calls for up to like 30%, but your dynamic range looks to be 3 dB, so that would mean that you're running mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC, Roger.
Hey, Roger, that's about right too. That matches up perfect. So your thoughts is I should probably just leave her alone.
Yes, sir. I would say leave it alone and just enjoy it. You got it perfect, Roger.
Hey, Roger, on that. Okay, I'm going to let somebody else jump in there and get you. I know there's other people out there that want to get their stations checked. And I know you're in here a lot. I think the last time we talked, I was on a 7410. And I've still got that 7410. And got it as a, sitting here as a spare radio. I may just set it up for digital, but not sure yet.
Yeah, Roger, 7300 I think is made for talking. It just allows to get on down the road, Roger.
Hey, Roger, on that. Okay, 73, so let's get somebody else. KA5 DJF.
Roger, Roger, David 3's that way, sir. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Have a great weekend. If you get a chance, join us next Friday. We go 3:30 till 5, record live. So if you would like to hear that great 7300, if you go to YouTube in the next couple of days and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And on that page, you'll be looking for one QSO-VLOG entitled My Group Aircheck 11020. My Group Aircheck 11020. Roger.
Roger on that. I appreciate that.
Roger, Roger 3's. This is KC9VKV, the Friday Afternoon QSO-VLOG Network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
November 8, Uniform America X-ray.
November 8, Uniform America. Is that a Roger?
November 8, Uniform America X-ray. Name is Mark.
Oh, some poor lost soul is tuning up. Please do not tune up on an active frequency. You take it elsewhere. 3 up or 3 down somewhere else. You don't tune up on an active frequency. It's not kind. Anyway, N8 UAX, what's the name there?
The name is Mark, Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo. The rig is a 756 Pro. Antenna is a 4080 and 160 dipole, about 35 feet. Over.
Roger, Roger. And what kind of power are you running?
Let me look at peak. About 750 watts. I probably don't need it. I had it in earlier. It's probably not needed. I'm driving an SP220 with about 50 watts. I have graphic equalization in advance of the microphone. Over.
Roger, Roger. Sounds good. Sounds good. And you're running a SP220 at 500 watts?
About 750. That's about what it is. It depends how close I get to the microphone. I don't want to crowd it because it'll the peak light will come on, which means I'm driving a little hard. And I also have it on low plate. So the amplifier's on low plate right now. There's a bunch more available.
Oh yeah, I'm running a SB220 myself. We're doing about kW. That's the way we run it, and it's been running that way for 3 years. So, Sally forth, Roger.
Yeah, I've got the front end tuned a little bit on the SB220 to accommodate the solid state rigs, and I think my antenna's tuned pretty well. I think the antenna's pretty good here. As far as SWR, I don't know, unless I check it, and I'm not going to do that in the middle of our conversation for sure. And I generally I tune up into a dummy load. I heard you telling someone, scolding someone. Yeah, that is aggravating, isn't it? Especially if the signals are strong, it kind of blanks out everything that's coming in. So I've never checked in on this before. So there you go. I'm going to check in and say hi to you. I didn't get your name. And you know what? You were talking to someone on a 7300. I've never heard a bad 7300 yet.
No, there's just some that are tuned up a little bit better. They're a little bit more ferocious than others, Roger.
Yeah, they all sound terrific. And I'm thinking about a rig. I'm thinking about a 7610 rig. But that's in the future. They're a little expensive right now because this radio is starting to have some noise blanker, noise reduction issues in the receive. Don't know what it is, but something is not going right with it. And it's, I don't want to send it off unless I have a new radio here, so not going to do anything. It's good enough. I've got everything turned off right now. It's good enough. And, so anyhow, please let me have your name.
Roger, your name here is Jim, Juliet India Mike. Again, the call sign KC9VKV. And now we are located just beside Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio, right at Louisville. And you'll love that 7610. It has an interesting feature that no other radio that I know of has, and it's called a drive control. You get to it through, there's a button on the front of the 7610 called Quick, and that lets you access this drive control. And basically what drive is, it's a dynamic range cruncher. If you start at 3 dB like a 7300, normally tunes up, and I love to adjust them where they have about a 3 dB dynamic range, which means average percent of peak modulation is between 80 and 85%. Well, the 7610 with this drive control, you can go in at 3 dB, and I usually suggest running that. It comes stock at 50%, and I usually suggest running that at 65%, and you pick up a little additional fatness in your audio. But that drive control, if we did a test with that and put it to its maximum, and we wound up with half a dB of dynamic range. You could understand exactly what the person was saying, but the modulation, I'm looking at your signal and most signals on a VU meter, and my VU meter, instead of bouncing around, it was just laying there, just moving ever so slightly between zero level and minus half a dB. It's just amazing. It looked like a plate voltmeter.
Well, I'm anxious. I'm anxious to get one of the radios, but I'm not anxious to spend $2,800 right now. But that really sounds. I've learned this one over the years, and there's still more in here that I haven't even messed with. So, but I also understand that there's a port you can just plug in a screen, and it'll give you a large display of what's on the radio. That was something, I think someone told me that too. Has a lot of features. Jim, I appreciate you listening to my radio. And someone told me it's set up right now and don't touch anything, and I'm not going to do it. And I hear the dogs barking to go outside doors. I've got one that's yipping, and that's an indication that he wants to go out. Okay? So thank you. Nice to make your acquaintance. I wish you the best for the new year. And maybe someday I'll hear you again on 40 meter. Kilo Charlie 9, Victory, Kilo Victory, November 8, Uniform, America X-Ray.
Roger, Roger, Mark 3's that way, sir. Have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. And your audio will be up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. We're running about 900 air checks at this time, but yours will probably be, with any luck, on page 1, and it will be called My Group Air Check 11020. Today's date, My Group Air Check 11020. Roger.
11020. I'm going to put that down, and I will take a look at that. It'll be very interesting. Okay?
Roger, yeah, and you look to be, that last one looked to be about 20 over. It's hard to tell, what I do is I'm looking at this view meter of mine, and I have your audio peaked at 0 level, and so when you cease speaking, the meter drops down and shows me what the ambient noise level is, and when you get a noise level lower than -10, it's really hard to say what it is, but my meter is not moving at all on the bottom side on your transmission, so I would say you were 15 over, 20 over residual noise, Roger.
Okay, terrific. Very, very good. I appreciate it, Jim. Thank you much. And I've got to get the dog. I mean, she's screaming in the other room for me. I've got to go. Thank you. S73.
Roger, cleaner than some telephone lines. We'll catch you later. 3. So this is KC9VKV and the QSO-VLOG network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
K4LJE.
K4LJE. Is that it, Roger?
That is a Roger. K4LJE. Jim in Eden, North Carolina. Hello, Jim. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing beautiful, sir. Jim, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm on my way to a event at a local restaurant. I've got to play some music this evening, so I don't have a whole lot of time to spend, but I did want to come in here and see how we were doing. We've been doing a little work on this 10-tech station that we've got here now. So back to you, KC9VKV, K4LJE.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, Jim, I've got a 7300 that I'm A-being with my 990, and I do have an ISI. Now, this is a new thing for us. It's an input source indicator. This baby keeps tabs of all my input source selections, so when I switch to the 7300, it shows it, and if I'm copying the Rochester SDR, it will show that too. I can go back and forth between the my Yaesu 990 and the 7300 and listen to about 40 years worth of difference in radios. Roger.
Yeah, Roger. Well, very good. Sounds great there. We're running the 10-Tech Omni 5. We're running a Heathkit SB220, and she's doing all she can do here. It's it's about right at 1,400 watts out here, and we recently incorporated a Mackie brand mixer in the audio chain, and took some of the other junk that we had in the audio out. And we're also running the 10-Tech dynamic microphone, the Model 707 chrome-looking desk mic that they still put out. Over.
Oh, Roger. Now, are you using your mixer in the transmit mode or in the receive mode?
In the transmit mode, Roger.
Wow, well, you certainly do have that adjusted perfect. A lot of folks have difficulty getting high-level output from their mixer into the mic input without distortion because they fail to think about padding it down, and you do have to pad that down at least 40 dB or so, Roger.
Oh yeah, we definitely we had to watch that. We've been used to doing that. I had another little cheapie mixer made by Peavey Company, and we were doing that. But it was started getting some RF in it, so something I think gave up in that thing. So we just redid it with a new one. This has got some digital effects in it. We're not going to worry about that because we're not running a stage. We're running a sideband rig here. Hi. But yeah, well, thank you very much. I listen to myself on the SDR, but it's always good to get a report by somebody who's actually hearing what's on the other end.
Roger, just beautiful, just very, very relaxed, and just a great signal. You know, like I say, you're probably 20 over, 15, 20 over, great signal. Just beautiful conditions today, and we are really interested in getting the best recordings that we can. So we are running on that 990. We're running our dipole, and on the 7300, we're running our twin 10-foot mag loop antennas. And you're just wall-to-wall on all of that, Roger.
Yeah, well, thank you a lot. You're sounding excellent yourself. You're about a 20 over 9 on peaks. Got just a tad bit of QSB in here, but that's no problem. And the antenna right now is a vertical. It's a quarter-wave vertical here for 40 meters. And we got about 50 radials underneath. And with that, I'm going to go jump in the shower. And because I can't hardly stand myself here, been at work. So thank you very much. Happy New Year. Hope you had a good Christmas holiday, and really appreciate it. And we'll catch you again, hopefully. KC9VKV. Good evening, sir, and thank you again. K4LJE.
Roger, Jim, and what radio were you running again?
Omni 5, a Tech Omni 5.
Roger, sounds great. 3-set way. Have a great afternoon, a beautiful weekend. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. From now until 5, we're recording live, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo Bravo 3 Hotel.
Kilo Bravo 3 Hotel. What's the name there?
Yeah, very good afternoon, Jim. My name is John. I'm in western Pennsylvania. You have a beautiful signal. You're about 20 over on a Collins KWM 380, which I got you dialed in here. And I've been listening and appreciate your talents and your services to the amateur community. Over.
Roger. And what was the John? Is that the name, Roger?
QSL.
Roger, John, now tell me about your antenna system.
Yeah, it's a dipole antenna. It runs north-west to southeast. It's about 20 feet, and the other's up about 30 feet.
All right. I'm looking at your audio, and you could be just a little fatter if you might be interested.
Okay, I have the processor on this KWM 380, and as I understand it, it wasn't the best processor. I'll shut it off right now. Okay, this is with the processor off. It's a vintage KWM 380. I'm putting out about 100 watts. Over.
Roger, I would like to hear the processor on at about a 3. Processor on at about a 3, Roger.
Actually, this KWM 380 has no way to change the processor. It's either on or off, and it was an option on this radio, as I understand it. But there's no way I can vary it unless I guess one gets in the radio.
Roger that. Well, go to your ALC and with mic gain in hand, and adjust your ALC to where you're running a mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC by way of adjusting your mic level.
Okay, I will do that right now. How's that?
All right, just talk just a little bit. Tell me about your antennas and kind of watch your meter and adjust your mic level to where you are, mid-scale to 2/3. It's bouncing in that area.
Okay, I'm running a dipole antenna, runs northwest to southeast, one end up about 15 to 20 feet, and the other is up about 25 to 30 feet. It's been raining all day, pretty gloomy and overcast here in western Pennsylvania. Back to you, KC9VKV, KB3H.
Roger, Roger, John. Now, I'll tell you what I would do. You have a watt meter on the output of your power amp, Roger?
Yeah, I don't run an amplifier. I'm just running barefoot.
Roger. You've got a power out meter on your radio?
Yes, I do.
And can you see that from where you normally speak on your microphone?
Let's see here. I have an outboard watt meter. It's an old Collins watt meter, and it's not very accurate. Let me see if I can get it to bump up a little bit here. I get kicking up to about 30 to 50.
Roger that. Well, what we're going to do with that, we're going to pretend that is a VU meter. We're going to pretend that watt meter is a VU meter. Does it have a PEP RMS switch? If it does, put it on PEP so it moves a little quicker.
No, it does not. It's just PEP.
Okay, that's great. That's what we need. And as you speak, look at your watt meter there, and you know where the sweet spot is on that watt meter. So what you're going to do is between the tempo of delivery, the rate of delivery, and the level that you speak, you want to try to keep that meter right in the sweet spot. Now, you know, that does involve speaking, not real fast, but if you speak like that meter will never hang up. But if you're just normally speaking, that meter will hang up at some point. And what you want to do is try to speak to, and what we're looking for is trying to get the best signal audio-wise, level-wise that we can, and that consistency is not only through the electronics, but also in your entity as speaking, that you can control a lot of the modulation directly, Roger.
Okay, and I appreciate this. I can tell this is coming from the mind of someone who is truly well experienced, and I wish I knew what you have forgotten about this hobby and broadcasting in general. I'm tuning it a little bit right here, and I think I might just right about there be that sweet spot you're referring to, Jim.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, you were very consistent on your output level, your modulation level. I'm looking at your audio signal on a VU meter, and I've got it adjusted for 0, which is it's not 0 like you would think, but it's a place on the meter that is about halfway, a little over halfway to the right, and that is a place where you usually calibrate things, and so I've calibrated your audio to that point. And the idea is that with your ALC running mid-scale to 2/3, you'll be running probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 dB dynamic range at 80 to 85% average peak modulation. And the thing is that you want your peaks to return to the same place on each peak of the word that you're speaking. And that last transmission that you did, all those peaks were right at 0, Roger.
Okay, real fine. Well, I really appreciate it, Jim, and I'm looking forward to getting on YouTube. And also was wondering, you have on your QRZ.com page, you were at a 50,000-watt station. I was wondering what station that was.
That was WHAS in Louisville, 840 on the dial, 50K day and night.
I remember it dearly. I used to live in Kentucky. I actually went to school there for 2 years in a small town in Lebanon County, and WHAS was the 50,000-watt blowtorch, which I've heard up here many times. I took my third-class FCC license test in Louisville, And I've always been very fond of Kentuckiana in general. Hey, thanks for taking the time, my friend. God bless, and I hope you have a great year ahead. And I'll look forward to going on to YouTube. KC9VKV, KB3H. Over.
Roger, John. Three's that way, sir. And you'll be looking, when you go to YouTube and do the call letter search for KC9VKV, you'll be looking for an Aircheck entitled My Group Aircheck 1-10-20, today's date. My Group Aircheck 1-10-20. And it usually takes us a couple of days to get it uploaded to YouTube, Roger.
QSL 73s, and thanks again, Jim. God bless.
Roger, three's that away, sir. This is KC9VKV, and we are running our new ISI, our input source indicator. This is on the lower right-hand side of the screen, our video recording. And so I have a 6-position rotary input selector, which has 2 receivers and 4 internet SDRs. And so every time I move that switch, the lights go up and down, corresponding to the position that I'm at the moment. I'm running 2 receivers, a 7300 and an older FT990, which is our normal antenna, our normal radio, and we're evaluating the 7300 from the standpoint of right at this time receiver differences between a digitally inclined 7300 and a maybe 30-year-old FT990. So this is KC9VKV, and if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo 1, Germany, Uniform Yankee.
Kilo 1, go ahead with the rest.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Kilo 1, Germany, Uniform Yankee. The name is Ken, Kilo Echo Nancy, and Jim, we spoke about 2 weeks ago, and so I've been tweaking my radio quite a bit. My group said I had too much low end in, and so I've been tweaking it to get it to be a little better and to get rid of a little bit of the low end and more towards CX, but also RAD too. I'm running about 1 kilowatt and through a high dipole antenna, actually a ZS6VKW or modified G5RV up at about maybe 95 feet here in southern New Hampshire.
Roger, Ken, well, I think your audio is just perfect now. Yeah, I think you've got it just at the absolute perfect place as far as I'm concerned, equalization-wise. You've got nice mids and a nice top, and you have a bottom end. It's not excessive. It's, oh gosh, I would call it perfect, Roger.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that report. Thanks for that. Of course, yours is, your audio is, I guess the word is, it's the best I've ever heard. Perfect. Us here into New Hampshire, Jim. So I know there's a lot of other people waiting. I didn't want to take up a lot of time. I'm able to put in more lower end, but you say no, right?
Yeah, no, I would keep it right there. I think you got it going on. I would see if you could check out your ALC level with mic gain in hand and make sure your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3. Just bring up your mic gain or whatever you need to do to run mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC.
Okay, that's you're right. The ALC is pretty much dead right now. And I'll bring up the mic gain a bit and bring up the compressor a bit, and we'll see if we can get that up.
All right, just a 3 on the compressor. Just set the compressor at a 3, Roger.
Okay, got it in there, and now we have good movement towards the center of the ALC here on FT101D.
All right, but you got to stay on mic. Don't pull off mic. Stay right there because you always want to be on axis to your microphone.
Okay, I'm dead on axis right now, dead center, and the ALC is dead center.
All right, tell me about your antenna system, Roger.
Yeah, I'm on the loop. I had problems with the tuner there. I'm running a Alpha 9500 at about 1 kilowatt or so, And so what I had to do was just jump over to my loop. I have an 80-meter loop up about 70 feet.
Roger, I'm catching a lot of room noise that I didn't hear before. So is your proximity to microphone, the last transmission, the same as it was in the beginning?
Yes, it is, but I increased a lot of gains on the mic, and other people have said that brings in the room noise as well. So I can start to bring that down somewhat and see if that helps. But of course, then the ALC drops a bit.
Yeah, don't do anything right now. What's your distance to microphone?
I'm about 5 inches to the mic, maybe 4 inches.
All right, make that 2 inches to mic. Come 2 inches to mic and let me hear you.
Okay, now I'm 2 inches to the mic. 2 inches to the mic, and ALC is bouncing towards the center, and I did lower my mic gain down a little bit.
Oh gosh! And you're 3 on your compressor at a 3, Roger.
Roger, that's a Roger. Yes, right at 3 right now.
Okay, you're to me you're a lot better at 2 inches or whatever your latest proximity to microphone is. When you back up, you do catch that room is particularly live. So what you want to do is work a tighter mic so you don't have the ambient reverberation coming in. So if you run it about 2 inches, that will supersede any problems of the sound bouncing in your room. Roger.
Roger, I got that. Very astute of you. Let me ask you this, Jim. Do I have a lot more lows as I come close to the mic?
Well, normally you do, but I'm not noticing much of a build-up, Roger. It sounds very good.
Okay, thank you so much for your expertise. It's so great to have the privilege to talk to someone like you. And, of course, I do visit the YouTube, listen to myself and to others as well. So I know there's others waiting. I don't want to hold it. So let me say 73 to you this week from K1GY to KC9VKV. Have a great weekend, Jim. Thank you.
Roger, Ken. And where are you located, sir?
We're in southern New Hampshire. We're closer to the Massachusetts border, just about 20 miles above the border.
Roger, Ken. All righty. Thanks for checking in. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday between 3:30 and 5. We record live and then post it up on YouTube. So if you want to hear what your radio sounds like, if you go to YouTube in the next couple of days and look for our call sign, put our call sign, do a call sign search on YouTube, KC9VKV search on YouTube, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And you'll be looking for an entity, Aircheck entity called My Group Aircheck 11020. My Group Aircheck 11020, today's date. Roger?
Roger. We'll be there for sure. Thank you so much again, and have a great weekend, Jim.
Roger, Ken 3Z wait, sir. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
Victor Echo 3, Bravo Uniform Echo. Papa Charlie, Papa Mobile.
Bravo Uniform Echo. What was the front? Give me that call sign again.
Nancy 2, Boston United Easy. N2BUE. Name's Ron, Romeo Oscar November. Ron, Romeo Oscar November. In the state of New Jersey. Name of the town, Gibstown, New Jersey. Jim, over.
Roger. And what was the name there?
Roger. And what was the name there? The name is Ron. Romeo Oscar November. Ron.
Roger. Ron, I'm copying you real well on the Rochester SDR. What radio are you running, sir?
What radio are you running, sir? Yeah, okay, Jim. I run the ICOM 7300 going through an AL80C. It looks like about 700 watts. And the antenna is an inverted 5 feet. Then each end coming down roughly to about 20 feet. So I'm seeing that with coax. And the microphone is a Heil ICM microphone. So that's working conditions on this end, Jim. And by the way, your 5x9
10 to 20 over at times.
Roger, Roger. I'm looking at you on my 990 running a dipole antenna, and you look to be about 10 over. And I think you could use just a little more top-end EQ on that 7300, maybe a click or two more boost on the top end on your EQ. Roger?
Okay, Jim, I got it set at +4 right now. So, let me see. I'll go to +5. Okay. Treble's at +5. And bass is at -1. Over.
Roger, I think you have just a little more articulation with that pattern than before. It's not much, but it just helps a little bit more, Roger, as far as getting some edge on your words, Roger.
Oh, okay, Jim. Very good. Oh, okay, Jim. Very good. Well, that's where I'll travel. -5 on the travel. -. Have it set. Very good. I thank you for the comment, and hopefully I'm not talking too loud into the microphone. Sometimes I tend to raise my voice as I talk into the microphone. I try to keep it at a certain level, but it gets out of control at times. Anyway, thanks for coming back to me, and I appreciate it, sir.
Roger, Ron. Come me one more time with your call sign slowly phonetically.
Yeah, okay, Jim. November 2, Bravo, Uniform, Echo. November 2, Bravo, Uniform, Echo.
Roger, Roger, Ron, and what's your location?
Roger, Roger, Ron, and what's your location? The name of the town is Gibbstown. Gibbstown, New Jersey. 65 miles west of Atlantic City.
I got you, sir. Got you, sir. Thanks for checking in. If you get a chance, join us next Friday. We run live from 3:30 till 5, recording all the way. And today's air check is called My Group Aircheck 11020. So if you want to check out your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and we're running about 900 QSOs at the moment, but you'll be looking for one called My Group Aircheck 11020. My Group Aircheck 11020, Roger?
My Group Aircheck 11020, Roger? Yes, sir, Jim. I will check that out in a few days and listen to myself. Appreciate it very much. So you have a good evening, 73, and we'll catch you another time. KC9VKV, NTBUE.
Roger, Roger, 3's that way, sir. And gosh, I'm going to start a new segment here. It's called Cards and Letters. And from our Cards and Letters department, here's a comment from R.T. Gideon. He said, let's see, Jim, you have one cool antenna farm, and we did post a piece on our antennas. At the time, I'm not sure if we had all 38 at that time or not, but if you'd like to see it, you can go to YouTube and do a call letter search for, let's see, KC9VKV, and probably do RS 1335, RS Romeo Sierra 1335, or do my antenna for KC9VKV, my antenna farm. That would get you there. And let's see here. I have also a comment from we received from Bill W3WDR, and it said, I reviewed your current video, would note that I was using the Milford and DC SDRs as an aid in reception. You were booming in Milford, but very light, if no signal on DC. And what this basically says is that he was using an SDR to receive me, and that kind of gives too much latency in the operation of the QSO. I know it takes longer for me when I'm using an SDR, but for somebody else to use an SDR, and we try to communicate in the same conversation, it's like going through 3 translators, to different languages. So if you can't receive me very well, I'm doing all I can do to help you do that. But please don't try to use the SDR, because between my SDR usage and yours, it'll just bog down. So there you go. Anyway, that's from our cards and letters department. There's more, and we'll get to those later on. This is KC9VKV. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo November
Papa
4,
Charlie, Papa Mobile.
Papa Charlie Mobile, what's the call?
Yeah, good afternoon, Jim. It's Victor Echo 3, Papa Charlie, Papa Mobile.
Roger. And what's the name?
The name is Roger Oscar Baker. We've spoken many times. I've got a different microphone in the car today, so I just wanted to get in touch with you. I'm back to the 3P. Let me get a report. I'm back to the 3P.
Roger, Rob. Now, I have not been paying attention to my SDRs. My Milford SDR has gone to sleep or cut out from Mexico or something. I'm not real sure what it is. I have a dead screen, so come on, Milford, come on up there. I know I usually sorry, I wasn't hitting the right button. I have 4 tablets, and there's about 2 inches above the tablet, and sometimes when I'm hitting the on button, I'm actually 2 inches too high, and I'm not doing the the right thing. But let me see if I can bring Milford up again, and hopefully we have not been tapped out, so to speak. Sometimes that happens, but I think it looks pretty good. And anyway, Rob, come back and let me hear you on Milford, Roger.
Let me hear you on Milford, Roger.
Okay, Roger, Jim. 3 Papa Charlie. And we are mobile today on our way home from work, as usual, on Friday afternoon near the town of Kincardine, Ontario, QSO.
Roger. And all that work on the Milford, PA, bringing it up, and you're tearing me up on my mag loops on the 7300, Roger.
Very good. Well, I'm going through some terrain here, so that'll go up and down as well. But we spoke last week. I was at home. I've done a refurbishment on my D104 with electric cartridge, and anyway, I've done some work on the mobile here too, so I wanted to give it a try and see if I can get through to you today.
Roger, it looks like about 8 dB above my noise level, Roger.
Yes, so the audio, the operating condition here, I'm using a Kenwood GS120S 40 meter Hustler mobile channel radio. The phone is actually a lapel electronic microphone, and I've got it set up with a separate push-to-talk switch for working in the car. I'll see how it sounds down your way. The 3PCP mobile.
Roger. Did we not talk about the Electret microphones and my top end boost deal?
Yes, we did. Yeah, that was last week, and I was at home, but this week I'm in town.
Roger. If you get a chance, just experiment with that, my CRISPR. What that is, for those folks that may not know, is if you're running a little Electret, if you dabble in your do-it-yourself microphones, which I do, and you're running an Electret condenser mic, which I do, then I have a thing called a CRISPR. And what this is, it's actually the body of a phono jack. You know, the phono jack has got a rubber body to it. Well, you put the phono jack out of the rubber body, and that leaves you a little cylinder of rubber there. And then you go with a razor blade and you chop about where it's about 3/4 of an inch long. And that size of that piece of rubber, the hole, is about the size, absolute size of an electret condenser microphone element. And so you put that element inside the hole, and so there, now you have a channel about half an inch that is in front of the electret microphone. And what this does, Rob explained it technically to me, it is a crisper, and it differentiates between the lower frequencies and the upper frequencies, and you will wind up with a nice crisp top end, maybe as much as 7 or 8 dB boost at 10 KC off that little electret microphone. So a lot of times you just avoid having to use any EQ at all, because this just puts such a nice little articulation to that microphone. So, Rob, whereabouts are you now, sir?
Oh, I'm still heading home. On my way home, I just turned the corner here. But anyway, the microphone I'm using is an off-the-shelf tie-clip microphone. And then I homebrewed a push-to-talk handheld switch that I use in the car here. So and I have a little inline phantom power source for the left cartridge between this and the radio. So there's no EQ on this radio. It's an older Kenwood PS120. So mic gain only, and the tie-clip mic is probably 2 or 3 inches down below my chin on the front of my coat QSO.
Roger. Now, how do you key it? Do you key it with your left or your right foot, your brake foot, or how do you key that mic?
No, I've got a little handheld push-to-talk switch that I'm using. My arm is sitting on the center console, and I'm hanging on to the push-to-talk with my hand there.
Roger, Roger. Well, it sounds really good, sir. It does sound good. And you pay attention now to your driving, Roger.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's pretty foggy here this afternoon. We got a big storm system coming through tonight with rain and freezing rain and that sort of stuff. So still hoping to get home before it gets too dark and starts raining too heavy.
Roger that. Roger that. Mobile's doing a great job. Conditions aren't the best today, but that Mobile's cutting through, Roger.
Thanks very much. Yeah, it works well for me. I usually have been running in a static D104, right? But I really don't like having to pick up a microphone when I'm driving. It's one thing just to push a push-to-talk button, but having to hold a microphone up to your mouth while you're driving is a bit of a distraction. So this way I can just push the push-to-talk mic and keep my eyes straight forward and just talk.
Roger, Roger. Now, finally, my work on bringing the Milford SDR paid off. It is now the best SDR. Well, it is the best signal at the moment. I'm getting. I thought I saw an S9 signal on the Milford. I usually don't even look at their S meters on the internet. You know, I just go by what they sound like. But I did happen to look up, and I think you were hitting about an S9 on Milford, Roger.
About an S9 on Milford, Roger.
Roger, very good. Well, thank you very much for doing that, and I look forward to listening or watching the YouTube video when it comes out in a couple of days. Anyway, I won't hold it, Jim. I know there's lots of guys wanting to get in and talk to you. I appreciate you taking the time every week to do this, and it's certainly a great service that you're providing. 7-3, good afternoon, and we'll talk to you again soon. KC9VKV, the 3TCC mobile.
Roger, Roger, Rob 3's that way, sir. Drive safe. This is a KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
You want to check out? Give me a shout.
There's about 3 stations in there for. Try it again.
Bravo 2, November Lima.
The November Lima station, come back, please.
November Lima station, come back, please.
Okay, again, this is Bravo 2, November Lima. Edward Gary. Georgia, Able Radio, North Sebring, Florida. Go ahead.
Roger there, Gary. Well, we do have somebody tuning up or something. I don't know, a mental case. But, you know, everybody has to be somewhere. I guess they just feel lost if they're not causing mayhem. But anyway, Gary, come back and let me hear you again, please, sir.
Gary, come back and let me hear you again, please, sir.
Okay, Jim, fine business. We're running an old Collins 32S3, and that's driving a 31L amplifier, and we're using a ground-mounted 6-band Hustler vertical. So not a lot of adjustment. Just wanted plus
Roger, Gary, you sound like you might be a little high frequency-wise. Check your radio to see if you might have your clarifier on, or you might not be on the same frequency that we are. I'm on 7.18800. 7.18800. Roger?
8800. Roger.
Yeah, okay, very good. I'm running a 75S3 receiver. So we're operating 16-year-old equipment here. And that's where the dial reads. If you're familiar with the old Collins equipment, it's right smack dab on the line. But that doesn't mean that's where I'm really transmitting. Go ahead.
Roger. Well, you are quite high. And you're not running any. You have a separate transmitter and receiver, or it is a transceiver. Which is that?
It is a transceiver. Which is that?
Yeah, it's hooked up in transceiver mode. So it's using the transmitter of the 32S3 is using the VFO out of the 75S3 receiver.
Roger. Does my speech to you sound like it's high, very high frequency? You know, like I'm not real sure, but it just sounds like it might be off frequency on the high side, Roger.
Might be off frequency on the high side, Roger.
Yeah, I've had that report before. No, you sound what I would consider to be very normal sounding voice. And I've had other stations tell me that I'm a little high, but not exactly sure how to fix that.
Roger. Well, it's kind of like what was that? That CB song where they had the three of whatever they were. I forget the animals now, but they were kind of high pitched like that. So yeah, I would think maybe you know, might want to turn that radio in and have them get the sledgehammer out, Roger.
Get the sledgehammer out, Roger.
There you go. Yeah, we got actually. I have a 7300 from DX Engineering that should be here Monday. But like I said, I was just curious as to what your opinion was, and I appreciate that. But anyway, sound trees. I don't want to hold it up, Jim. There's other people on here that have radios that have adjustments other than the mic gain. KC9VKV, WB28NL.
Roger. Now I do have a cheat sheet for the 7300. It might be just down your alley. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV and look for my group Aircheck 1320, in the description of that Aircheck of my group Aircheck 1320, I do a cheat sheet for the 7300, which shows you how to get to most everything you need to get to in the transmit section, and what the levels should be, the numbers that you should crank in. Roger.
The numbers that you should crank in. Roger.
Okay, very good. That sounds good, Jim. Thank you.
Roger. So that's my group Aircheck 1320. And that is in the description, so you can't. I don't think you can get there by a telephone debrief. I think you might have to use a computer to be able to see the description. I'm not real sure. But anyway, like I say, that it does have all of the things that you need to get to as far as the transmitter is concerned on the 7300, how to get there, and then once you get there, how to adjust and the numbers that you will crank in. So, all right, three's down that way, sir. You have a real good afternoon, Roger.
Three's down that way, sir. You have a real good afternoon, Roger.
Roger, Roger, 7-3.
And what was the call sign one more time?
And what was the call sign one more time?
K2ZT, Kilo 2, Zulu Tango.
Stand by, Zulu Tango. Florida station. What was the call sign again?
Florida station. What was the call sign again?
Whiskey Bravo 2, Hotel November Lima.
Roger, Gary, I got you. And what part of Florida are you in?
Roger, Gary, I got you. And what part of Florida are you in?
We're in Sebring, right in the middle of the state.
Sebring, Roger, Roger. Well, I hope you can get some TLC on that transmitter. Bring it on frequency. It shouldn't be a major problem, but you would sound a lot better. So three's for now. And the other station that was breaking in there, come back.
Three's for now. And the other station that was breaking in there, come back.
K2ZT, Kilo 2, Zulu Tango.
Okay, K2 Zulu Tango. You also might have difficulty in your transmitter. I wish you would tell me about your antenna for about 10 or 15 seconds and let me listen to you.
Antenna for about 10 or 15 seconds and let me listen to you.
Thank you. KC9VKV, K2ZT, Kilo 2, Zulu Tango. I'm running at a 43-foot center-fed vertical. It's a gap Voyager here on 40 meters. My name is Jay, Juliet Alpha Yankee. I'm located in Ransomville, New York, near Lake Ontario, almost directly across from Toronto, Canada. I don't know if it's band conditions, but I heard you running an FT990, and I thought, I don't know how to put mine on the air. This rig has not been on the air for about 10 years. KC9VKV, K2ZT, my name is Jay.
Roger, Jay. Well, you have some AC ripple in your audio. Your audio is being chopped up by 60 cycles of AC. I'm not exactly sure where that's coming from, but you might check your mic to be sure everything is copacetic there. But like I say, you do have, I don't hear the actual hum, but I do hear the audio being ripped up by 60 cycles. Roger?
Being ripped up by 60 cycles. Roger?
Oh boy, is this any better? Is this any better?
No, it's still got the rip up. It's just a distortion in your audio that is at a 60 or so cycle rate.
At a 60 or so cycle rate.
Oh boy, that might be RF feedback. Thank you very much. I'm going to sign off and put this on a dummy load and check. Thank you very much. KC9VKV.
Roger, Jay, the last transmission sounded a little better. I don't have a real good copy on you, so I can't say, absolutely what the situation is, but it did sound a little bit better. Come back and let me hear you one more time before you sign off.
Come back and let me hear you one more time before you sign off.
Okay, KC9VKV. This is K2ZT, Kilo 2, Zulu Tango. I turned off the RF processing. I thought perhaps I had the processing misadjusted. As I said, I haven't used this radio really maybe once in 10 years. You said you were running an FT990 in it, so I gave me an idea. So I turned over to the other desk and kicked this thing on. KC9VKV, K2ZT.
Roger. Well, that did take care of the problem, sir. So you said you had your compressor on. Is that a Roger?
You said you had your compressor on. Is that a Roger?
Yes, I have some RF clipping on, and That may have been the problem. How is it now?
Well, it just started. It just started back like it was. Did you have your compressor off that last transmission?
Did you have your compressor off that last transmission?
Yes, I did. I turned it off. I turned the compressor off. So evidently the RF compression needs adjustment, and I'll go to a dummy boat myself. I'm sorry about that. As I said, I just kicked it on. I can get about 65 watts out of this on CW, but I bought it in 1993. So I'll let you know. A rock solid signal here in Ransomville, New York. KC9VKV, K2ZT73. Thank you.
All right, Jay, just one more test before you go. With your compressor off, come back and give me a 5 count.
Back and give me a 5 count.
This is K2ZT. Compressor is off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead.
Roger. Yeah, I would leave the compressor off. I think that's what's posing your problem. I don't know whether it may be with the additional amplification, picking up some RF. I'm not sure, but right at the moment, I would just leave the compressor off, and I think everything will be copacetic till you can get a better ground in there and get that RF, the stuff grounded maybe a little bit better. But right now, I'd just leave the compressor off.
No, I'd just leave the compressor off.
Thank you very much. You're working with me on the air. 990. And again, that's what gave me that's a comparative piece of equipment you're using. But that's what gave me the idea to kick this on. Thank you. I don't want to take that any more of your time. There are other stations calling. I appreciate your help very much. KC9VKV. This is K2ZT73, and thank you.
Roger, J3Z-Way, sir. Have a great afternoon. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday after you've kicked that compressor around or got some additional grounding going. Whatever it takes to resolve the issue. Push come to shove. Just nix A on the compressor A, or whatever that is. Just turn the compressor off. This is KC9VKV, and gosh, we are rapidly approaching 5 o'clock, so we do wrap up there at 5. So if there's anybody who wants a quick air check, give me a shout. KC9VKV.
A quick air check, give me a shout. KC9VKV.
Nancy 1, Bravo, Sierra, Kilo, Whiskey Radio.
There's a Bravo Sierra. Come back with the whole call sign, please.
Come back with the whole call sign, please.
Yes, sir. Hello. There are a bunch of them on the Bravo Sierra. I'm just wondering how the audio sounds in general, if you can.
All right, what I need for you to do, sir, is give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system so I can look for a better connection, Roger.
Okay,
7. That's all we got. Whiskey's over.
I need about 10 or 15 seconds, if you can just, 10 seconds, if you can just, give me about 10 seconds worth of audio, that's all I ask.
Okay, you're... the cloud, we decided against the cloud mitigating the
All righty, gosh, you're pretty hard on your audio, your ALC. You sound like you might be too hot on your ALC. What I suggest is that you bring your ALC meter up and with mic gain in hand and adjust your ALC reading to where it's running mid-scale to 2/3 by way of adjusting your microphone level. Roger?
Adjusting your microphone level. Roger?
Okay, we turned it down a little bit. Is this any better?
I could go down a little bit more. Look at your ALC meter. That's what you need to do. The heart of your radio, your transmitter, is that ALC. It'll tell you better what you're doing than your best buddy, Roger.
You're doing than your best buddy, Roger.
Okay, you're very kind, and maybe there are others who need more help than we do. Thanks so much.
Roger, and I would suggest if you're running the compressor to run about a 3 on the compressor. That's our normal setup, a 3 on the compressor, and then with mic gain in hand, adjust the ALC to where it's running mid-scale to 2/3. You do those two things, and you'll be running about 3 dB of dynamic range with an average percent of peak modulation between 80 and 85%, which is a very fat signal, but it's very transparent. You can't hear any of the stuff working, Roger.
Stuff working, Roger.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much. I guess you heard words. Over and
Roger. Still looks like you might be running hot. Are you running just a regular microphone into your radio, sir?
Running just a regular microphone into your radio, sir?
Yes, sir. SM50.
All right. So I would suggest again, look at your ALC, and you want to bring that mic level to where it's running mid-scale to 2/3. If you do that, then you won't have any distortion, and you will have a nice average peak modulation.
Okay,
sir. Thank you so much. And we'll give the floor to the others. Thanks so much.
Roger. Also, you might, I tell you what, why don't you pull off mic about 2 inches or 3? Pull off mic about 3 inches and let me hear you.
Pull off mic about 3 inches and let me hear you.
Okay, now we are maybe 4 or 5 now, over.
Oh, gosh, that's so much better. So much better. I would run that just like that, Roger.
I would run that just like that, Roger.
We'll stay away. We'll stay back and not catch anything. Thanks so much.
Yeah, that helps your EQ because you were suffering from a proximity effect, which is when you work a mic really close, it starts to get some bass buildup. So when you pulled off a mic, then that bass wasn't quite so heavy. In addition, that your transients weren't very bad because another problem when you work really close mic is the transients, the B's, the P's, and mouth noises in general. So pulling back off mic just solved a multitude of problems, Roger. And your level. Don't forget your level. Yeah, that backed off on the level, which really helped you also.
Okay, what
about the low-cut business,
Well, I would say give me a 5 count, give me a 10 count, and at 5, accentuate your low-cut switch. Stay on mic all through the count, but at 5, activate the low-cut switch, Roger.
Activate the low-cut switch, Roger.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0.
Oh, yes. I like it much better with the low-cut on. You sound a lot more balanced, Roger.
Okay, well, the low-cut's on, and you've been terrific. Thanks so much.
Roger. Okay, come back one more time with the call sign again.
I'm sorry?
Repeat your call sign again, please.
M1BSJ, Nancy 1 Bravo Sugar.
Nancy 1 Bravo Sugar, and was there something else after sugar?
1 Bravo Sugar, and was there something else after sugar?
Yes, sir. J for Juliet.
Nancy 1 Bravo Sierra Juliet.
Nancy 1 Bravo Sierra Juliet.
100%.
All right. So let me say threes to you, sir. If you get a chance, join us next weekend or next Friday. and we'll see what you've been up to and listen to you. Maybe we'll have just a little bit better condition next Friday. So anyway, gosh, 3's that way, and you have a great afternoon, great weekend also. And this is KC9VKV. We are now 4 minutes past 5, so we're going to wrap up. We have enjoyed it. I hope you have. And if you participated and you want to hear your station sound, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for my group Aircheck 11020, that's today's date. My group Aircheck 11020, and we'll get this posted up in the next couple of days. Usually we give ourselves about 48 hours. So 3's for now. We've enjoyed it. Hope you have also. And this is KC9VKV. We're returning the frequency back to normal amateur radio operation. KC9VKV is clear.
Operation KC9VKV is clear.
Georgia, report down here.
KC9VKV, KB6WJA for a short one.
The WJ station, come back again with your call sign.
Yes, sir. The call sign is Kilo Bravo number 6, Whiskey, Japan, America. Name's Chris. Location is in Irmo, South Carolina. And just firing up a new to me, a TS-890, the little brother to your radio there. Just want to know if the audio is good. Do I need highs or lows, or am I good where I'm at?
Come back and tell me about your antenna system.
Okay, well, the antenna system is not much to look at. I'm in the HOA, so I'm using a screwdriver. It's a Tar Heel 100A HP on an Outbacker tripod mount about 2.5 feet off the ground. I can get on the air in the HOA. My fault. I knew it coming in. Go ahead.
Roger. And what was the name there again?
Yes, sir. The name is Chris. Charlie Hotel Romeo India Sierra.
Roger, Chris. You have a perfect EQ on that radio. I wouldn't change a thing. Roger.
Roger. I know you're wanting to get off the air. It's been probably a long day for you, and I thank you very much for your feedback there. Your audio is very nice. You got a very good signal. I got you 5, 9, plus 10 in my location, so I don't know if you're listening to remotes or what have you, but very good signal. Very good. Have a good day. Have a good weekend, and thank you for coming back. KB6WJA.
Roger, Chris, I would just suggest that you look at your ALC and adjust your mic level to where your ALC runs a mid-scale to 2/3. You looked like you might have been just a shy thin there, so you want to make sure that your mic level is mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC meter. Roger?
Roger. Yeah, it's shown about 2/3. The microphone, just for information, is a Shure 444D. I've used them in the past many years, since about 1988 when I first got licensed. So I've always been pretty partial to the microphone. It suits my voice.
Yeah, it does. You have a very clean audio signal. All right, well, let me jump out of here. And if you want to hear your radio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And on that page, you'll be looking for a recording called My Group Aircheck 11020. My Group Aircheck 11020. Roger?
Roger. Thank you again, and 73s, and enjoy your weekend. KB6WJA.
Roger. Likewise, sir. And it'll probably take us a couple of days to get that uploaded. We usually leave ourselves 48 hours. So 3's that way, and we'll catch you later. This is KC9VKV, returning the frequency to normal amateur radio operation. KC9VKV clear.